Good morning. We are back in the garden, and I thought this week maybe we would do a tree investigation and learn all cool facts about trees. So I've got my big gigantic oak tree. We're going to use him a lot for our science experiments this week. And the first experiment I'd like to share with you is about the seeds that this particular tree makes. And we know that this is an oak tree, and oak trees make acorns. And if you look along the floor of my garden, since we've been a little remiss, you can see all the acorn litter that is all around. This tree drops a ton of acorns, so many that I think my neighbors get annoyed by it, but it is what it is, right? It's nature. So I went and I found this book. I think it's adorable. It's called Little Acorn. And look at that guy. Doesn't he look so happy? So whenever I get annoyed that my tree is dropping acorns, I'm just going to have to think of this one right here, because it's fun to find acorns, but, well, I'm going to show you what the squirrels do with my acorns too. So we've got Little Acorn. Little Acorn. When I was just an acorn, nobody noticed me. I watched the world below go by from high atop my tree. I nestled under cozy leaves and sheltered from the rain, growing fat and shiny when the sun came out again. When the summer faded, the leaves turned golden brown. Bye-bye, acorn, said the leaves, floating towards the ground. Wait for me, I called, then ready, steady, jump. Whee! I tumbled through the air and landed with a thump. Squirrel was collecting nuts for his winter store. He hid me carefully beneath the forest floor. Underground, everything was snuggling and still. I waited very patiently for time to pass until I felt a sudden change beginning deep inside. I'm feeling so peculiar. What's happening? I cried. You're growing up, said the worms, all wriggling about. When acorns fall into the soil, at some point, they will sprout. I giggled as I felt tickly, teeny, tiny shoots. And before it, I had sprouted tiny little roots. I started to stretch up, wiggling left and right, reaching up and up until I pushed out into the light. Warmed by gentle sunbeams, my little leaves unfurled. I was so excited to be back out in the world. As the weeks and months passed by, I grew and grew and grew. Squirrel spotted me and said, "Hey, I've been looking everywhere for you." The seasons changed, and so did I, in sunshine, rain, and snow. My branches stretched, my trunk grew tall, my roots spread far below. Among my sturdy branches, the birds built cozy nests. My twigs and leaves made soft, warm beds for all my feathered guests. Spiders weaved their sticky webs, and beetles scurried by. Squirrels scampered playfully and made their homes up high. The creatures of the forest had never seen a finer tree. I wondered, would there ever be another one like me? Then, one breezy morning, I woke up with a yawn. I stretched my branches, and out jumped a special little acorn. Right? It all started all over again. And so here we talked about, well, here's the life cycle of an oak tree. Every oak tree starts life as a seed called an acorn, growing out of an adult tree. The acorn drops off into the soil where it sprouts roots. The roots grow down and a leafy shoot grows up, growing taller and taller. The acorn is now a baby tree called a seedling, and it continues to grow bigger and bigger until it is a new oak tree that can grow acorns of its own. So I have shared that my tree, we call him Steve, and we'll learn more about that as the week goes on, but I've said that my big oak tree likes to drop its acorns, and my squirrels love to bury them. And I'm going to show you how many of these teeny tiny baby trees we have growing. They're everywhere in my garden. And normally I pull them out before this, but I figured you guys would get a kick out of seeing all the places that the squirrels have planted all of these baby trees. So there's some in my flower pot, and you can see there's the root. They're all in here, and you can even see there's the leftover bit of acorn that's still attached to it. So I'm going to go and pull a few, and we will actually look, there's even more. Look at that, still attached to the acorn. So what happens is in the fall, the squirrels collect these acorns, and then they dig in my pots and plant them. Look, there's another one. That was planted by a squirrel. I didn't put that in there. And then let's see where else. They're all over the place. So these guys, I'm going to have Todd come and yank some of these, and we will actually dissect them and take a look at them up close. I'll meet you back at the table. Okay, so I've gone out into my garden and I've harvested a bunch of baby oak trees, baby seedlings. And in fact, as I'm standing here, I can even see in my flower pot another one. Come on. Well, we'll leave him for now because I need two hands. So what I wanted to show you is what it looks like when they first start to sprout. So here's a brand new one. This one probably just opened this spring. And so here's the acorn that either fell off the tree and got covered up, or perhaps a squirrel planted it. Usually if they fall in my flower pots, it's a pretty good bet that the squirrels plant them. And you can see the acorn split open. So you can see the acorn split open, and we've got the root part that's growing down and the seedling part that's growing up. This is going to eventually grow up to be the tree trunk. So this skinny little part, if we let this acorn grow up, is going to get big and strong like this tree right here. But it all starts out like this. So if we were in school, I would bring in one of these or a couple of these seedlings, and we would plant them up and watch how tall they grow. And they do actually grow quicker than you would think. So here is an example of a big one. And you can see it's been growing for so long that it's actually outgrown the acorn and we've got its roots. So I'm going to add these to this pot, and I don't want to overcrowd them. I'll maybe just pick maybe one big one and one little one so that we can compare and see how quickly they grow. And I don't think I can do it one-handed, so here we have our 2 baby oak trees. So we've got our littler one and our bigger one, and we'll keep an eye on them and we'll see how they grow throughout the season. We'll see how much bigger they get before the end of summer.
Be sure to come back tomorrow. See you then. Bye.